All the books I didn't think I'd be reaching for, I didn't think it would be a D&D player handbook.
Silence is the most important for dialogue.
Yeah.
Which before meeting you would make absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've seen us play, and the silence is critical in almost every situation.
Role-playing games are all about improv and conversations. Is all it is. You're telling a story together and making decisions in character, and the fun is just to see what kind of experience you have, what the outcomes are. The dungeon master, the person who's facilitating the campaign, they are just kind of fitting you into this world. Your characters are in this world and putting you on this adventure. And the dice that you guys are rolling are basically to see, like, what's the probability of something happening.
It is really hard to, as a dungeon master, to make sure everyone has the same amount of time in the spotlight. Just naturally, someone's backstory might be more applicable to the main story arc, so they might have a little bit more time.
Another thing too is there's a lot of games where you get a role, and that role puts specific boundaries on you and your character and what you are.
Your players and the dungeon master need to be able to know that time and acknowledge the time and understand when it is someone else's time.
How to handle things when they don't go right. It is that improv nature. Oh, okay, that didn't work like it was supposed to, like it always has. What do we do now? And you need to figure that out on the fly.
Because it takes practice.
Yeah.
The one of the most important distinctions in D&D, in my opinion, but also really in any dialogue, is knowing whose turn it is to speak.
And that's just like real life. Like, you don't know, when you're problem solving, with or without a team, you just try things and see if they work.
It's really a tool to teach empathy.
Yeah. Relatability, all of it.
Yeah. It's telling the players to acknowledge how someone else is feeling.
People wept when a player died. And I was like, whoa, like that's culture.
It happens, yeah.
That's a real thing that happened there.
You spend a lot of time with these people and invest a lot of, you create a relationship, and then it's just gone. It's done. In these role games, you are fit into a boundary of your own, and you're expected to do something on your own and to behave a certain way, if you will. And it's really just like your real life day job and who you are outside of work.
That is, I've seen the same DM turn around almost on the dime in the next 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, just be absolutely brilliant in terms of calling out, you all just got done defeating 20 werewolves, and on top of that, one of your friends died. How do you think you should be?
Spoilers.
Yeah. How do you all think you should be acting right now? That question was brilliant. You all should be mentally messed up right now. And just calling that out and getting people to kind of snap out of it and come back to me here. We're going to task orientation here. I mean, I need you to stay present with the emotions that are local to this moment that you're in right now as a group.
and that's what a lot of role playing is you and your team have to figure out what to do on the fly in these bizarre circumstances. And you're like, well, I'm just going to try this. I don't know if it'll work. I think it will. I just thought of it at the top of my head. And the dungeon master will tell you if it's successful, or will have you roll something to see if it works, or to see if something else breaks, or if something else magically happens.
Other times you have to let the other players shine.
If I was to put this in the scope of real world organization, I think of like our roles and responsibilities we're all in. We're all given a duty, a job duty. We're expected to do certain things on a daily basis, and expected to take ownership with certain systems or tools. And that's our job. Like, that's the role we're in.
Take the metaphor straight into the workplace. I mean, the application is so easy, it's not even funny. Hey, managers out there, your team just did something ridiculously cool. You're not going to schedule time for them to celebrate,
right?
You're not going to look actively and seek actively to be able to get them the props that they deserve in a more local, a more widespread broadcasted level throughout the organization.
Yeah. How excited do you think they're going to be? If
the next time they get to do something.
Yeah. Or if we do celebrate.
Yeah, forget it.
They're going to be like, dude, let's do this again.
Yeah.
Man, the business is going to pay for the party.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. We don't have to do any planning. Heck yeah.
If you treat and that's just the success part. Forget it. We haven't even covered the stress part of the gig. Like, hey, guys, we all went through this, guys and gals, we all went through this massive change that happened in the organization. Let's talk about it. And I don't want to hear crickets. I know you've got opinions. I know you got ideas. Just, you're welcome to bring them out here. Nobody's going to hold this against you. This isn't showing up in performance review time. Just talk about it. We got to talk about it, because if we don't talk about it now, it's going to show up later in our process. That stress is going to show itself. So let's just get it out here in now, not with maybe the intent of solving the problems, but at least just getting into the practice of saying, hey, let's make our unknowns known right now.
Yeah.
But like,
can't be solved unless it's on the table.
Yeah. I just ordered my first player handbook, and it's like 300 plus pages.
Yeah.
And yet on Friday night, we have folks who are used to using this handbook and are referring to it and carrying it around with them like it's their Bible. And they're like, it's like their employee handbook, if you will. And they're going through and they're like referring to, you've got yours right. I'm going to get a chair like you got right now. Yeah, that's the exact same book I bought. Yeah, like it's the book, right? Another reason why this should be the vehicle for training.
This is all you need.
Yeah, and my favorite thing about this is it doesn't matter who does it or who messes with it. It's going to be different every time. Everyone is like, especially as a newbie, like everyone is talking about this as if it's like second nature. And they're interested in it and they're referring to it. Yet if you switched gears to the organizational setting, like no matter what company I've ever worked for, there's always this like, well, I don't know how to do that. And then that's it. Like nobody like seeks out anything. And yet here we have like this book of fictitious stuff and everyone is piling through it to try to find the answer and trying to build this integral, construction, this social construction. And yet at work, it's like, well, it's not my fault. It's the manager's fault. The manager's like, well, I'm not going to go there with that employee, and there's real money and real consequence involved in this. And yet in this fictitious world, everyone's poring over the meticulous details of it. And that distinction is like, we got to fill the gap between those two things. Like, I'm not saying that, employees need to walk through the organization with their employee handbook and try to like pour over policy. Sure, there are situations where that matters the most, but the creativity that goes into this and the sheer nerdery of it all is just amazing to me. And I'm like, why can't organizations function in this way?
I was watching a video of how one of the players in particular is a great D&D player because they don't speak out of turn. Like, if anything, they like when it's someone else's moment, they're so into it, totally silent. Again, with the silence, like in my mind, that's the most important thing. But he's so intent, and then when something cool happens, he starts screaming and yelling. Like he's so into it and so happy for them.
Yeah.
Even though it's not his time to shine, he celebrates with them.
Yeah.
He's still a part of his team's victories and their losses.
I think about how many giving and receiving feedback, or I don't know if it's like crucial conversations or whatever. You're given a fictitious scenario that you have to act out, and you feel kind of dumb doing it. But in D&D, I'm seeing a welcoming community where nobody feels dumb putting on a voice.
Yeah.